Hello, my name is David C. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join me for this presentation on capital project bidding process. Again, that was capital project bidding processes. The bidding process is a small part of the whole capital project, but a very important part. Capital projects are something that districts throughout the state are taking part of infrequently, but they have very lasting effects. And it is something that business managers deal with at least a couple times throughout their career, depending on the size of their district. These capital projects have a long-term lasting effect on a district. Long after a school business manager has retired, those schools will still be standing. And we need to make sure, as business managers, that we're looking to the future and not only just today. We need to try and anticipate what are the needs going to be for the district 40 years down the road. A lot of times mistakes can be made, but that's where as business managers we need to try and figure out what is best for the district now and into the future. So what is the capital projects bidding process? We're going to look in there and explore and have a discussion on what this process is and also how the current conditions economically and politically are affecting that. So the project bidding process, or the capital project bidding process, is the early stages. It's when you define what are we going to do. It tells you how much this project or construction project is going to cost, and then it gives you the ability to figure out and determine how are you going to pay for this project. Are you going to do it out of your operations budget? Are you going to do it from referendum or from other means to pay for it? By having this information, you're able to make the plan, and it's the beginning steps of, in many cases, creating a school or some other facility or making repairs to current facilities. For this project, the Superior School District's policies and procedures in regard to capital projects bidding was reviewed. In this instance, the Superior School District had one policy within purchasing that fell into capital projects. I am not going to go over the full policy here, but it is included in the riveting research paper that's included with this presentation. The big line that came out of the Superior School District's policy, though, is any amount over $100,000 needs to go through the competitive bidding process. Now, by creating this policy within the district, we are making more requirements, or the Superior School District is creating more requirements that they must follow as opposed to what the state minimally requires. Also, because of good timing, I was able to follow and watch the process of a capital project being approved for brand new bathrooms at the Superior School District High School. Hence the reason of that beautiful looking restroom. So with the requirement of any project over $100,000 needing to go through competitive bidding, what exactly does that mean? Well, competitive bidding is a formalized process on how districts get bids, make decisions, and then go from there. The first step is to create an RFP, a request for proposal, or another name for it is a bid invitation. This is critical. After having discussions with Andy Phillips, attorney at law, Kyle Torvin, another attorney, the school district attorney for the Superior School District, and also with business managers for the Superior School District, Chippewa Falls, as well as Eau Claire area school districts, they all noted it is critical that the RFP is detailed and precise and includes everything that the district wants when sending out and requesting for bids. The next step is the bid preparation of interested parties. So that's the contractors out there putting their bids together to say this is how much it's going to cost and this is what we agree to. Next is the bid evaluation and selection. So this is where the district looks at those bids, sealed bids, and reviews and decides which bid are they going to accept. And then lastly is contract negotiations and awarding. At that point in time, once any additional negotiation that needs to take place can take place there. 9 times out of 10, the bid that is awarded is the lowest bid, with some exceptions where if a bid does not meet the requirements of the district, then that bid can be disqualified and the next highest bid can be selected. So what is the most important part? After having discussions with Mr. Phillips, Mr. Torvin, and then the school business managers for various districts, they all said the same thing. A complete and detailed request for proposal is critical. When asked, Andy Phillips said the biggest mistake is districts do not spend enough time on the RFP or the contracts. Doing the heavy lifting up front leads to a better overall process. So how do you get bids? The goal of an RFP is to get as many bids as possible. Some ways districts get the word out to companies is by contacting contractors they've worked with in the past that they have a good relationship with. Putting an ad in the paper. Some even put it out on their have dedicated web pages on their district site for bids that are available out there. The key is to get as many interested people to put bids in so you have a good group of bids to choose from. That usually drives competition, bringing down the price for the district and fellow taxpayers. So what is the sealed bid process? This is a requirement of competitive bidding. Per DPI of Wisconsin, the bid must be, or RFP, must be publicly advertised. They need to solicit bids from multiple companies throughout the public and provide sufficient time for companies to provide a bid, including a due date so they know when the bids are due by. Again, these bids need to be open to the public and include any relevant information in regards to the bid. This is where all the business managers and attorneys that I had a discussion with said this is a critical point. You need to have all that information in there so the bidders know what they're bidding on. At that point in time, it is awarded to the lowest and responsible bidder. Any of the bids can be rejected as long as their documentation and sound reasoning. This is critical. This makes it so if somebody provides a bid that is much lower but doesn't meet the needs of the district, it can be rejected. So big surprise, just like everything else in this world, COVID has had an effect on capital projects with school districts. The big thing right now is ESSER money. ESSER money is a federal grant they provide out to school districts to help with gaps in learning, is what they call it. It has been approved to use on various capital projects, but with the use of federal money becomes additional restrictions and guidelines. The biggest one at this time is the requirement to follow the Davis-Bacon Act. This act, otherwise known as prevailing wage, is significant as any project over $2,000 is required to follow the Prevailing Wage Act, which requires that the amount minimum wage paid to workers on the project is set. In a lot of instances, this is considered a union wages, which can be more than the average wage that somebody pays as opposed to a non-union shop. Again, with the ESSERs, there's also timeliness. As of right now, all funds need to be used by September of 24, but there is a memo from the Department of Education stating that they do have exceptions where you can get up to an 18-month extension to use the money as long as there's sound reasons to do it. Up in the corner, you can see Mr. Davis and Mr. Bacon, who will live in infamy. Great, now you've got your sealed bids. You've found the lowest bidder and you've chosen who you want to go with. Now the fun begins. Depending on how you plan on paying for the project, if you do through operations budget, it's pretty straightforward. It comes out of Fund 10 or Fund 46 or one of the other funds out there. But if this project is big enough that it cannot come out of operational funds, then it's time to go to referendum. That is what's different than out in the public sector. You have made an RFP and made a plan, and now it's up to the taxpayers of the school district to decide if you're going to continue with that plan. If it passes, then you continue and you create debt to pay that project. If it doesn't pass, then you have to make a decision. Do you have enough to pay for it out of operating budget, or do you just stop the project as it is? So what's the biggest thing you can take from this? I think the biggest thing is to put extensive time and effort into the planning stage of the bidding process. Make sure your RFP is correct, and when in doubt, ask for legal advice. As Andy Phillips said, when asked what are the benefits of legal counsel, we always discuss the benefits of early investment in legal because our legal costs tend to be far less on the front end than the costs associated with a project that goes wrong. In addition, we can identify hidden cost centers in projects and otherwise minimize the out-of-contract additions in contract projects, which lead to lower costs. Overall, in the long run, when in question, legal advice, legal counsel can save you money. Finally, in closing, I just want to thank the people that I was able to interview and as they volunteered their time. Andy Phillips, attorney at law at Altos Law. Kyle Torvin, attorney at Torvin, Jones, Roth, and Sanders. Shannon Grindle, the business manager for the Superior School District. Abigail Johnson, the business manager for the Eclair School District. And Chad Trowbridge, the business manager for the Chippewa Falls School District. In closing, I just want to emphasize one point that Andy Phillips told me, and that's that he requested Todd to give me an A. Thank you.